Good morning, everyone. While we wait for a few minutes, let me just engage you.
The world is changing. Cities are evolving. With adoption and deployment of digital technologies, cities are now more than brick and mortar. They are becoming innovatively functional and aspirational. Communities are becoming smart. Smart cities are the future.
The basic elements required in a smart city: two things: electricity, constant electricity, and high-speed internet.
In a smart city, the goal is to address growing urbanization challenges with a digital framework. The framework is an intelligent network of connected objects and machines that transmit data using wireless technology and the cloud.
A village with electricity and high-speed internet is already smart.
Smart cities can improve energy distribution, streamline trash collection, decrease traffic congestion, and even improve air quality with help from the Internet of Things.
The right leadership with the right vision, I think, can be able to deliver and change some of our cities to smart cities.
Programmers Foundation is today a major advocate for the development of smart and connected communities and cities in Nigeria. The COVID-19 pandemic devastated the world, but it has also demonstrated just how much digital innovations are needed to serve the society. Innovations that make the people smarter, better connected, healthier, precipitating solutions that have a positive impact and relevant local content. Amos Emmanuel, chairman of Programmers Foundation, constant refrain is that change does not happen on its own. It is influenced by people who innovate. He is always calling and urging innovators to rise and occupy leadership positions in every part of the world, particularly in Nigeria. He is a firm believer that the world innovation cannot be complete without leadership contribution from Africa and especially Nigeria. Programmers Foundation Africa, tapping into the growing, the digital awareness, has taken up the challenge to help the continent progress. Programmers Foundation was established in 2009 by Programmers Software Limited, a long-standing leader in the capital market financial technology subsector that saw the need to fund activities, help realize the goal to deliver innovation-led ecosystem for Nigerians. Amos Emmanuel, Chairman, Chief Software Architect for Programmers Software Group, is a prolific software designer and entrepreneur. He has served as ICT backbone to numerous financial institutions in Nigeria with over 25 years experience automating and maintaining more than 100 capital market operator organizations in Nigeria and Ghana with the multiple award-winning Cloud Integra. He is a UN World Summit Awards eminent national expert for Nigeria. Programmers Foundation is engaged in significant work. It is helping Africa harness the power of technology. It is teaching Africa to innovate. The impressive and groundbreaking work that Programmers Foundation has pioneered is particularly important in the light of the United Nations UN Decade of Action on the Sustainable Development Goals (SDGs). The Decade of Action calls for accelerating sustainable solutions to all the world's biggest challenges, ranging from poverty and gender to climate change, inequality, and closing the finance gap. Technology promises to play a larger-than-life role in this quest. Programmers Foundation, through its work, offers Africa a huge chance and gives her a massive advantage. Programmers Foundation may well be Africa's linchpin. Two important segments of Programmers Foundation's multi-pronged approach include the Innovation Bed Africa and Smart City Project. Innovation Bed Africa is playing a strategic role in identifying and promoting indigenous solutions. Since it emerged on the scene, Innovation Bed has made steady progress. Today, it is a go-to organic platform for startups' incubation and multiplication. Without a doubt, Innovation Bed SDGs framework offers Africans a community-based collaborative hub in the areas of mentorship, innovation capacity, development, and entrepreneurship. Indeed, the emergence of an entrepreneurial bespoke IT ecosystem is perhaps the best way to precipitate the growth of the ICT sector with the development of relevant and functional solutions.
Okay, good morning all.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir.
Excellent, good morning. Yeah,
Good morning.
a couple of people there.
Mm.
Well done.
Mm.
Right. Good morning and welcome. This
Good morning.
morning, yeah, I'm happy to have you. I think this
Okay, welcome, sir.
we've had this early call last week. We had a batch and another batch currently, and it's actually a session to allow us actually try to run through certain processes that we are actually anticipating may require our attention in the very near future. Very soon, quite a couple of things are expected to be enforced, and we may not have the opportunity of, having to say we are lagging behind, and that is why this call is essential. And at this point, we've done like 10 minutes into it, and I expect every hand that is ready for the program to have been in, but otherwise, we will just get started right away. Okay, I'll be sharing my work paper today. Can you let me know as you can see my screen? I guess audible and the screen is available. Someone?
Yeah, the screen is available. We can view the screen.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you so very much. Maybe we may want to, can we just please, let's just introduce ourselves. Let's even know from where, which houses. Before I come here, let me just get back. Please, let's just introduce ourselves. We have in the house, let me take Sonny. Please, Sonny, please introduce yourself, sir.
My name is Sani Ali Abdullahi from Kundila Finance Service.
Great, thank you, thank you. Just brief. Yes, madam. Madam Dora Benson, sir, madam. You can unmute yourself. Can unmute yourself. Let's meet you. Okay, let me have Mr. Fred.
My name is
Okay, great, great. Your sound just coming now. Okay, go ahead, madam.
Benson Gaga Dora, Express Portfolio Services.
Excellent. Thank you so very much and welcome. Mr. Fred.
Hello.
Yeah, your sound, Mr. Fred. Okay, maybe we have Mr. Let's have Archie Vivian.
Okay. Good morning, sir. My
Good
name
morning.
is Archie Vivian from Alan Grange Securities Limited.
Excellent. Good morning. Can we have Kinde? Kinde.
Morning, sir. My name is Kehinde Balogun, Camry Securities Limited.
Right. Camry, thank you. Let me have Imoli Ayo. Unmute yourself.
Good morning, sir. My name is Molayo Luwashijibumi from
Yes, please. Yeah, please. And as we get started, quite a couple of you have more than one participant, and we are yet to see your other colleagues. If you can also help in chatting them up to join in. Thank you. Right, because when I get started, I may not be able to attend to them, even if they chat. But then the information was just clear. Thank you and welcome, everyone. So at this point, I'll get back onto the paper that I'll get started right away. Today, we'll be actually looking at capital market KYC policy enforcement. And this morning, I really actually had a call to say that going forward, there are actually certain things that may not be able to, that we may not afford to do the same way it was before now. So in this session, I'll take you through all the critical areas where some of these essential are needed, and we need to be able to caution, okay, put that consciousness of what is expected of us. Okay. By background, you're going to get this presentation, so I really won't delve into this. Once you have that background, you better know the speaker, and more so to say that the main essence, in summary, what this whole session is to talk about is on capital market KYC policy enforcement and regulatory auto-comply awareness. Now, this is to welcome you to this workshop. And this program is designed to empower market operators with cutting-edge strategies, tools, and best practices for navigating the evolving regulatory landscape. The event emphasizes the importance of data governance, seamless compliance, and operational excellence as critical drivers of sustainable development in the capital market ecosystem. Before now, about 4 months ago, we had actually been involved with certain engagement with the regulators, and that what this actually was to do is actually to attend to what the regulators feel is needful that we need to implement, you know. So as a result of this, we've actually started some processes a couple of months now, and all these things hope to be tidied up between January, March latest. All this ought to have been firmed up because this is involving we having to be able to make certain processes so that we can give certain feeds directly to the regulators. And we're going to see how this play and what the requirements are, which is the whole essence of why it is important to judge with the practitioners at this stage so that when these things are happening, it doesn't come to all of us by surprise. Okay, the event emphasizes that importance of that data governance, which is key to all of this. And more to the whole of this will be that we need to look at this workshop, what matters. As the market braces for the unprecedented speed of change from 2025 and beyond, this equips participants to understand the evolving KYC requirements so that they can stay ahead and so on, then leverage the technology available for the regulatory excellence also, you know, so that you are not caught wanting when these things are to happen. And of course, data governance leadership amongst your peers, and by this also sustain market resilience amid the whole disruption that we see. Why the edge? The Cloud Integra 3.0, its premium edition, coming with all of this, is actually a game-changing, you know, opportunity for all of us. And that is why that by the time we are looking at the fact that we are actually also at the stage trying to do all of this, sure that your businesses are up there and your businesses are able to do these things when the time is there, is the whole essence why the edge for what we are doing is also that we are actually future looking. And more on this is that the workshop highlights will keynote address on the future of KYC policy enforcement. Because when you enforce certain rules, there are implications. And these are the things I want us to really pay attention. That you are enforcing rules, there are implications. That you were not enforcing rules, there were also implications. And we need to be able to see these two areas. So we're going to have an interactive session on leveraging this version product to doing all of this. Okay, the future of KYC policy enforcement, generally put, is that industry leaders like yourself, regulatory stakeholders that you are, it's actually an honor to stand and share before you today. At this juncture, the evolution of the capital markets. The workshop actually represents not just a forum for learning and collaboration, but a call to ensure that our markets remain resilient, secure, and innovative in the face of rapid global change. The theme of this of the segment of KYC policy enforcement, you know, and compliance, which could not be more timely. As we approach 2025 and beyond, the capital markets face unparalleled challenges and opportunities driven by globalization, technological advancements, and evolving regulatory landscapes. These dynamics, you know, necessitate a forward-thinking approach to KYC enforcement and compliance, grounded in robust technology, strategic collaboration, and a commitment to operational excellence. Now, the evolving KYC landscape, you know, actually goes to share that the stakes for the KYC compliance are higher ever than before. So regulators across the globe are tightening requirements to combat money laundering, fraud, and financial crime. And we're going to see the detail. All these things are basically, most of what is happening is actually that you own this data, you own these clients, you keep data. And that is why the essence of all this data that you keep are all now very important going forward in determining whether you are to sustain these rules or not as a house. So the future of KYC policy enforcement will be characterized by, one, increased regulatory complexity. They are also not, doing this because for the sake of wanting to just make rules. Even regulation is also facing very, very stringent measures. Kind of experiences that they are also having. And it's becoming a lot more difficult also. And that is why they are looking for ways of making things a lot simpler and, of course, much more sustainable in the entire market so that we can actually beat the issues. Okay? Now, technology-driven enforcement, that will require AI, automation, data analytics, and no more, and several other things will be involved with all of these. Data privacy and governance. We also have looking at proactive risk management. Proactive risk management, so that the focus is shifting from reactive compliance to proactive risk identification. Some of us, and many of us here, are into compliance officers, and these are key that rather than you having to see difficult things are made, we should generally begin to see how we can make life a lot easy for you to also identify risk and in the course of your processes, in the course of your processes. And this being said, technology actually has it actually can be seen as a game changer. It actually lies in the heart of future-ready compliance strategies, and that is why our programmers, with this flagship solution of this premium edition, it embodies this thinking along the regulators, and we try to see how some of what you were doing before will be implemented now as things change. So in the course of things that is going to change, we are imagining that what will be the effects of certain things happening when others have not happened, and how could we bridge the excesses? How could we bridge the problems that may be associated with this? So you can now imagine when a house is not ready, you realize that you may not be able to move with the speed. You actually may not be able to move with the speed. And there are certain things, obviously, that you cannot actually be able to keep in that human manual process for you to remember when to write somebody, for you to remember when something is expiring, for you to remember when a whole lot of things are happening. And this is the areas of concern that we think this will embody. It will actually help the embodiment of how we need to put some of these things together. We'll still later on be looking at when we even identify some of these KYC issues, how can we score? When we score these things as a management, what will be benchmark? What percentage? Like in some houses that I know, some organizations that I know, when they say KYC, they are looking at KYC total. And when this KYC is seen to be total, you are saying that your KYC must be 100% before you can actually move on to do things. Okay. Now, and so as a game changer, and for you to help in this, we will now begin to see how organizations can now begin to perhaps implement major dual control processes. And these enforcements are not going to come as an option. They are actually not going to come as an option. First, account openings. Second, depositing authorizations. Third, general debit note authorizations. Fourth, general credit note authorizations. And account merger approval enforcements. You see? So this will now be, in fact, for some, like I know of a house here that may have been doing this, they are saying that that will now remain a standard going forward. A standard going forward. That you can't actually leave non-authorization as an option at all. So, visionary leadership in compliance. As stakeholders in capital markets, we must actually embrace a culture of compliance that transcends minimum requirements. This means fostering between the regulators, technology providers, and market operators to build systems of trust and innovation. And that's exactly what is happening. When we were contacted by SEC, and we were given 1 or 2 organizations to work with, and we were told what the assignment was, it was so clear that it was important that even our regulators come to terms with the fact that this collaboration was desirous for them to achieve their desired objectives. So the future of KYC enforcement will not be defined by penalties for non-compliance, but by partnerships that drive industry-wide growth and resilience. Because even in non-compliance that you are paying fines, are you solving an industry problem? You are never solving an industry problem. Rather, we are trying to see how these problems are solved, and it should not be by way of fines. And that is why it's a win-win thing for the whole content and idea of these initiatives. Operators who invest in robust compliance framework today will gain competitive advantages tomorrow, attracting investors, customers, and of course, global partnerships. All right. Okay, so this was the general overview of what we have just spoken about, and the call to action on KYC enforcement is that we urge you all to see compliance not as a burden, but as a pathway to market sustainability and leadership. By doing the right thing and at the right time, using Cloud Integral Investment App, nurturing a culture of accountability and staying ahead of the regulatory changes, so we secure a future where capital markets thrive on trust, transparency, and efficiency. So together, let us chart a course that's not only to meet this, but even we should surpass it. In all this, maybe I should just take a break so that we judge on what is currently happening, and I'll get back to this paper. I will come back to this paper, and I want to just take a position, for instance. Okay, I see somebody driving. Sunny, that's not too okay for you. All right. Okay. All right. So I see, I want us to just have a general overview of what I have just said now, so that we want to put it in proper perspective, understanding. So the next I want to talk on this is that I want us to see how we can imagine scoring these attributes of KYC. The attributes of KYC. Now, maybe I'll start with Madam Benson. For instance, if I may ask, under KYC, images of customers are essential. That once accounts are opened, the pictures of these accounts are expected to be opened. I do not know whether this is done. I'm just trying to take samples of what currently happens now, so that we can begin to see how important some of these things will be in the very near future. Madam Dora, can I just hear, do you at this moment currently update for biometrics?
Severally we've tried to do that, but it's not working from our end.
Okay.
We even involved the IT manager, but
okay,
it wasn't working.
Okay. All right. So this is to say that even this shouldn't even be an excuse, because as we speak, biometrics to me, I've not had any last request of you having a difficulty. And please, even as we speak today, emphasize, try to that's why you see, the mechanism for my support on technical support is that as I'm here alone, but my total work is virtual. I have people that work with me here in practically different places. And that is the office. Where are the clients? Everybody is also virtual. And guess what? We are on top of every request from any client. And that is why, as small as we are actually an ISO registered company, that we have our standard operating procedures, that we know what it is to relate with any client of ours. And that is to say that to hold me responsible for one request, there will obviously be an auditable process of documentation that I will always want to refer to, not a call to any staff, because a call or a WhatsApp message to somebody here is actually not acceptable as a request. The starting point of my request, even in the SLAs that we have reserved, we must ensure that we understand what every bit of these things are, particularly in the course of relating with the support service. This is just international. It's the same thing that is being done everywhere. I've been here for several, I can't remember the last time I've been in another country, or even particularly say Accra that is closest here, but we support clients on this same application in many other places. So, but then this is driven by request. And please, if you have a request that is not attended, and you didn't even get back to there in terms of reminding, it probably maybe just look as if that request was not important. And please try to ensure that we emphasize you get back to that and make sure that you get your result out of it. Because like I said, going forward, it won't be an excuse. And also here, let me also know whoever may do biometrics that the capture is being managed by anybody, please. I'm still on the biometrics because I'm going somewhere. Because biometrics will take a minute. When we get into discuss the next point, which is on scoring, biometrics becomes very, very important. So an excuse will not deliver anyone here. So please, anyone, please. Let me take on Fred. Mr. Fred. Mr. Fred, I think you are in compliance, but these are things you should oversee. If not before, now is critical. Now, do you oversee biometric management ever before at any point? Is it consistent, and how consistent? And also if there's any difficulty too. Okay, Mr. Fred. Okay, I couldn't get him to talk the other time too. He's unmuted, but we can't hear him. Do we have Kehinde, Mr. Kehinde Balogun?
Sir, we have not even tried it.
Please, okay? So you can imagine. So that has not even been tried. Biometrics is not a new thing at all. Imole Ayo, okay. I think maybe you may be new, but then I was expecting. Okay, please go ahead. Go ahead if you have any information.
It's not in use, sir.
Please, yeah, because please, you need to take this up with either Mr. Femi or who else, or Latunji, that I know have been older people in that place on this, because these are key. Later on, when I now begin to look at scoring, what do you want to score? You want to score an activity that is not being done. So you now realize that if you now flag on enforcement of KYC, what it will do is that you may not be able to trade on some accounts, or certain things relating to certain accounts may not be able to go for transactions that you may be in a rush, that you may even be rushing to go to implement. And some of these things will fail, all because there are compliance reporting on one or two accounts. And these are the issues. So it will now be that instead of you having a smooth operation, you are now having your operation being hampered by the effects of some of these activities. Because the score that is not up to what your management feels is up to standard, what it must be. By the time the system is actually looking at the rating, the scoring of KYC on each customer that is going for a transaction, you realize that there will be cautions placed, there will be rejections, and that will mean that you will obviously, your operation will be hampered. No how. You obviously can't be smooth. And that is why I'm stressing that. Let me go back to the document, please. Okay, so let's look at what we mean by scoring methodology. Is that if you have a set of checklists of incomplete KYC checklist, let's say one of it may be even sometimes the way you capture the name of a client, assuming the full name is not complete or inconsistent with the, like for instance, you are trying to look at like your database. Because after this workshop, part of the things I'm going to do is I'm going to issue almost like a data governance report that is going to tell you that I could tell you based on your data, I could generate a few things to let you know how clean or how dirty your customer database may be. Yes, clean when the data is fine and conforms with data governance. Dirty if data is absurd, incomplete. And some of these things will be part of the things that we could use. We could drive it out from your data and clients and send it in Excel format back to you to work on. But please note this. If you have accounts with missing full name, this is an inconsistency. And these are some of the things to be flagged. Then, no date of birth or incorrect format. When the system says date of birth, but we just pick maybe yesterday as if the person was born yesterday, which is a very common thing we see because people open the account and they just pick on any dates. And that's why when systems are sending happy birthday messages, people are being informed or on wrong birth dates. And that's why some customers have seen many a times on the email relay, customers have sometimes said, okay, thank you that you are greeting me, but please be aware that this greeting is not correct. What this simply means is that the date of birth on his account with you is incorrect. So these are areas that needs attention, particularly quality of name that you have. Then the other one is on contact details. Now, contact details are becoming very, very important. When I say contact details, it constitutes three key things. One, phone number. Two, email address. Okay, that's email or address of the client. Where does the client live? These three key things. So if an account does not have them, these are basic information that you are finding your data deficient of. Then the next is biometric. And take, for instance, assuming in basic information deficiency, if you charge it like 25% and your biometric to be up to 10% for any account, and maybe means of identification to be 10%, and the identification stated as national ID, passport, or driver's license availability, and so on. And of course, to also check the expiry status. We can score this 55% or all that put together as 10%. That is, we have 25% here, we have 10% here, we have 10% here. This is already 45%. And for corporate organizations that must have a certificate of incorporation indented in the system, if it checks and it finds it, your 10% score will be added. Otherwise, it will be eliminated. Then address verification. To verify an address of your clients in KYC, you need to know or have utility bill, lease agreement, and some other acceptable documents. Address proof provided is outdated or illegible. You can't even read anything. You can't make anything out of it. What was provided in the file, it's not even readable. Then financial information, missing bank account. So you can now imagine. Then the next question is, who currently updates for accounts. Let me also come back here because this also another key area. Now, who currently updates customers' bank details? May I know? Sonny, you packed? Can you talk?
Compliance officers.
Okay. Now, but is it being done? That's my question. Is it being done at the moment?
Yes, of course.
Now, if you have 10,000 customers, what is the percentage of how many of them that you have updated for? This is where it is.
Based on the performance of the market and the clients, let me just mention 2%. 2%.
Okay.
Like from my own organizations, we have about more than 45,000 clients.
Okay.
After the 45,000 clients, I think it was only 700 to 600 people that update their account.
Please. Okay, please. I don't want you to just we'll take it from there, but please, I want you to see where I'm going with this. You're going to see the effect of this on the future of what we are talking about. Are you with me?
And then yesterday we had a meeting with NGS. They brought up something like this, that we are going to report any account that is inactive for the period of 3 years. Whether credit balance or debit balance, we were told to contact our vendors to maybe upgrade the system, that we will have access to our client that is inactive for the period of 3 years.
Okay.
Whether credit balance or debit balance,
yes.
They are going to design a template which we are going to be reporting quarterly basis. Is on quarterly basis.
All right. Okay. Thank you, Asani. And please also, Mr. Sani, please today, can you have a proper request over this sent to us, and we can direct you to where you have inactivity reports on Cloud Integra, because this is under performance report and it's an old report. So if there is any new change, or assuming they gave you any format that something was to be included, but then, or the duration, like you said, 3 years now, we'll be able to identify with that and let you know. Please confirm that you send a report on that dormancy status, which is inactivity report, which we can direct you to under the performance. There's something like that we know that we may not want to, I may not want to stress it here, but please just confirm that so that we can share that back with you. And please, any other person about this bank, because there are other activities that happen around this area. Can I hear from one more person, please, under bank of clients' bank details? Actually, Vivian, you were to say something?
Once again, I would like to maybe make an inquiry with the new development at the NGS or SEC, the direct cash settlement issue. So in the situation whereby a client sold his shares and they pay him direct, can the system automatically generate the payment direct to the individual account, let me just say Integra account, or we have to go and do it manually?
Aha, you see, this question is actually is a support question. So that I don't delay my workshop currently, please also note this and send it as a support question. We'll let you know, because this point I'm making is the same place that you also handle direct cash settlements, for which if that is not done, your question now becomes important, that you need to know what happens there so that you can better properly address it. Because direct cash settlement is self-managed automatically if updated accurately. Let me take Mrs. Benson. Madam, go ahead.
It has to do with the issue of bank details too.
Yes.
So I have a situation where you can do a holistic IT on this KYC update so that we won't have any issue. That's all.
Sorry, let me get your point, ma'am.
The bank details. I don't
Yes.
think we have it in our system.
Oh, okay, okay.
So
Meaning that
I
you,
will.
okay, sorry, if I may ask, madam, are you the one in charge of when you need to update some accounts that may be under direct cash settlements? Who handles it?
Yes, I do. I and my colleague.
Now, that same program is where you update for bank details of customers, madam.
On your platform or on CSCS platform?
No, on Cloud Integra.
On Cloud Integra. We don't do
Yes.
this on Cloud Integra.
On Cloud Integra. That's why I
Yes.
want to know who actually updates bank details, please. Somebody?
No, we don't. What we do, we update it on CSCS portal, not on program.
Okay, no. Please, if you do not
No,
update,
no.
now if you do,
Let me come in. Let me come in. The person that updates from the CSCS, when it is two name in the CSCS, and the bank details carries 3 names, the system automatically change the name to 3 names from CSCS. So what we do, we now print the CSCS account, use the current names to update same as the Integra, Cloud Integra. And on the process, we also update the bank details because at the point of making payments, the accountant doesn't need to go and look for the file, individual file. We only go to the Integra direct and pick up the account number and account name to make the payment.
okay.
So I think what I wanted to find out, does the system generate the payment direct to the client's account, or we have to insert it ourselves?
No, let me explain. Let me explain what happens. Like if today, Sunny, are you there? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you very well.
Now, what happens is that if today my account, Amos Emmanuel, if my account is on direct cash settlement, you need to go to the bank detail area and update my account to have enrolled for direct cash settlement. If you do not do that, and trade is being processed, and your OMS brings trade in, it will process and put the credit in my account because my account that is direct cash settlement in CSCS has not been updated in Cloud Integra. But if you have updated my account in Cloud Integra, you know what the system will do? When that sold contract note is coming for processing, it will process it as a credit and immediately clean it off. It will neutralize it. Because payments, that proceed is not supposed to stay in the account because the man has been paid by the exchange. Did you follow that?
So how can we have the record of that?
The record of your direct cash settlement clients are, of course, available. You know what customers that you have updated for direct cash settlement and those that are not on direct cash settlement. Please let me take him. Okay, madam. Okay, madam, your hand is still up. Let me hear from you. I wanted to hear from Imolayo. Madam, let me hear from you, madam.
Hello, sir.
Okay, Imolayo, go ahead.
Hello, sir.
Yeah, go ahead.
Like,
go ahead.
We do update the bank details of customer on the Integra at the point of opening the account. When we're already getting approval from CSS, so we do the update on Integra as well.
Okay, the bank detail is updated, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, so that is the point
Yes,
I'm talking about now. But then that same place where you do the bank update is the same place that you update the direct cash settlement that we were talking about. If you are familiar with the direct cash settlement case too.
Yes, we do it there.
Now look at it. What is the consequence if you have not done it and the customer account is a direct cash settlement? What is the consequence?
The customer will get value. At the same time, the fund will be in the customer account as if.
That's it. No, because it's not updated. I was trying to let Sani see this. If you have not updated and you trade, the credit will come and sit in the customer's account as if you are owing him. And this is a common problem all over the place. A common problem all over. Especially this was when the DCS was just starting afresh. But then some people have gotten it. Some, if you have any challenge, please, you need to address this. And that is why we say that also where bank accounts has to be updated, that's the same place. And that is becoming an important update now, because this information is requested, as we are going to see it later now, in the course of doing AutoComply for reporting. Okay, let me get back to my report. Let me get back to my paper. Now, okay, so we now realize that other items like, other information like tax thing, though this is not a requirement from them, but then these are key. Thing wasn't demanded in this information. I'm going to share with you all the data points that are essential. Then additional regulatory requirements like the occupation, source of funds, and all of that. And information that if not in the system, they will be null and they will be empty when you are reporting to SEC, and that may not be taken in good light. Now, or sometimes people who may be in the status of politically exposed persons, and so on and so forth. Okay. Now then come the introduction of what we classify as AutoComply. AutoComply being that system where your SEC reporting standard, like the FTR fund transfer and the fund transfer thing, and all of that, this FTR reporting and all the rest of them are so that with this automation, they are not able to read data from regulators. Please take note. Now, where you are not up to date, and by, say, end of close of business today, data is to go to SEC. Can you see the implication? If something is missing, if something is not updated, and SEC is to get their data, whether you are available already, once it's time, the API with Securities and Exchange Commission and your system, there will be data exchange. The concern here is, what are you available, or are you ready for data exchange? Please, this is where the challenge is. Now, we got introduced to Nobis, the software by SEC, to offer regulatory development for capital market compliance risk reporting and integration with independent software vendors. We have since commenced our integration developments working with Nobis for the purpose of ensuring that the Programmer's Premium Cloud Integra version now have the capability to integrate this market demand. Now, this is actually a market demand, and you do not have a choice, and neither do we, because we have to also make these provisions available. And I'm giving you the background so that you can properly prepare, So below is a summary of what was demanded from the software requiring our immediate integration, development, and automation. There exists a compliance tool called AutoComply. That is the tool. That's what they call it. It's not our name. Now, this tool will assist Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC, with compliance discovery and management. And of course, this product API lets risk officers in heavily regulated industries like CMOs automate regulatory reports by collecting data points used in these reports and entering them into regulator-approved templates. Note, this service will come at a fee because, quite frankly, the entire thing is unending. We've just not even started. You've just given us a list of things to do, and when we scale through all of these, they are to give additional, and it will be growing with time. So this is actually the trial stage that we are preparing, and that is why even the technical support in terms of what will support what we're doing has to also be upgraded, and this is the whole essence and direction. Okay, now we see that AutoComply has time saving. And this gives preparation time from a couple of weeks and months to less than a day. We have been authorized to automate the followings. 1, daily FTR report to be submitted to SEC. B, weekly CTR report to be submitted to the NFIU. And C, monthly transaction report to be submitted with NG to NGX. To do this, we will need access to the relevant API endpoints. And what am I talking about? If you are not available or you do not even understand that this is what is going to happen, you can imagine. And that is what this discussion was critical to obvious every house. And supporting documentation to be possible from the premium version. And this is why the development progress is in progress. And that is why this is what we are talking about. We have a 3-month implementation to tidy up this between January and March. But before now, your awareness and readiness is very, very essential, very important. Okay. Effective data governance is the cornerstone of compliance, particularly in automating processes for reporting obligations. Before now, we've been talking about KYC, and compliance of how many data or how many information that you deem as your minimum KYC requirement that customers have dropped with you. Are they available, and are they, I hope they are not expired, and so on and so forth. Now, we say that in automating processes for reporting obligations such as the Foreign Transaction Report FTR to SEC and NFIU for organizations like Imperial, MBC, Portfolio, and so on, and the general market as it is. Leveraging the AutoComply API can only succeed when all required customer and transaction data points are captured, validated, and governed comprehensively. This workshop actually outlines the essential elements of the data governance for the successful implementation of AutoComply automation and highlights the best practices for managing the associated tasks and subtasks. And I will proceed by sharing those data points. Now, to share those data points, you will agree with me that if data is not available, it may not. No, this AutoComply has a structure. What is the structure? The objective first, like we mentioned, is to provide a framework for implementing robust data governance practice, ensuring all necessary customer transactions and data points are accurately captured, managed, and utilized to fulfill compliance requirements effectively. Now, the key data point for governance here is 1, basic report details. Now, subtasks. These subtasks must always be in report date form, reference numbering, and of course, bank code and branch code provisions. Then what is the governance focus? The governance focus here is to ensure that data is accurate. It is also to have some validation checks that, oh, you have validated the existing data for accuracy in data entry. Now, and of course, secure storage. Now, to secure storage, it therefore becomes very important that this same data, which is of your customer, are also safely stored. At Programmers, we do not store data, but we facilitate your daily backups. And it is important that no matter how, you should protect your data by ensuring that you have an optimal, reliable data storage, kind of capacity internally. Now, before now, some customers have on-premise, data recovery. Some have remote data recovery. And what is the difference? The difference is that we actually can host your DR somewhere else, but then you keep like a Dropbox of your backup, which comes on a daily basis. and which you need to check also on a daily, so that if things are not connecting, if things are not working, please do not hesitate to send a notification of a backup process that may have stopped. There might be a reason why it has stopped. It could be that the capacity over there may be full and it might require that you clear there and allow newer backups to come in, or one form or the other. Okay. Now, essentially, please, I want you to just take a look at this list. On your customer KYC, the minimal as expected of this AutoComply, here they are, that you have something called customer type. You have something called surname or name of organization, where corporate. You have first name, middle name, nationality, date of birth, date of incorporation, occupation, type of identification, identification number, registration number, date of issue, place of issue, issuing authority, customer address type, first line address, second line address, town, local government, states, telephone, and email. Now, let's stop here and talk about this. Now, so we're now going back to the data points. And what is it about the data points? Each and every one of these data points, SEC is now saying that you do not have a choice. It must be that you have updated for this, for every customer, this request. And I'm going to show you the implication. When we are doing this and we are drilling from your existing data, you are going to see that several data will be looking not clean at all, meaning the data that you'll be providing will always create a failure. It will fail because null records are not tolerated. Yes, null records will not be tolerated. So it therefore means that for every account, we should strive to ensure that this set of data are all complete for them. I don't know how long it may take, but it really would take some time of updating, Like we hear our last speaker there says we have about 40-something thousand records, and we actually can understand the age of this market. This market started at a time when, in 1997, for instance, internet wasn't that a prominent showpiece, in business. So that, but today, internet and internet facilities, internet concerns are now essential that we have in the business of today. So it therefore means that we have to pay attention. We actually have to pay attention. It does not matter how small the firm is. Even bigger ones, it's the same concept, right? So as a result of this, we now realize that if this data is not updated, which usually will be the under account maintenance issue, and now additionally, for some of what we do not have there, we are introducing some additional things and making sure these are the minimal data as expected by this integration. So I will now progress. Okay, so in progress, we realize that this set of data, please take note are now very essential from the KYC. After this, there are something they call another set of subtasks, and that will involve on the KYC, these are the governance focus. Of course, data completeness, consistency across records, cross validation, data privacy. These are the focus in data governance. And the next one will be the set of data that are transactional. So all these are what they need in that portal. For every transaction, we want to know what transaction it is. We want to know what is the account number involved. What's the account status? Date of account opening. This account, what was the account date of opening? So you realize that even that date of opening, God knows how many years ago, they want to know the age in their, because this information will be used for analysis internally with the regulators. Now, they want to know if this account is linked with another account. Then they are also looking at the transaction dates, transaction type, currency type, amount, purpose of transaction, source or origin of funds, name of beneficiary, address of beneficiary, name of sender, address of sender. And this, all these details will be based on your firm. Will be based on your firm. Now, and also, same way as the focus of the KYC, the transaction details, the governance focus, it's timeliness, validation rules, transparency, and fraud detection. Whoever has information about certain reported frauds across the ecosystem, it helps them in, of course, using some AI manipulations or modeling, training models that can detect fraud within the market. So this goes a long way to help. Okay? And at this point, I will now I also stop a bit so that I can take your understanding of what has happened, particularly since the AutoComply. What did we understand of the KYC elements of data, the transaction elements of the set of data? They are called data points. So if this set of data are not available for every customer that may have had a transaction in any given day, nothing must be missing. Nothing must be missing. So what will it look like if I look at your data, for instance? That is the next view I want to share with you. In the course of our work and the sets of data that we had to use, we have had to forcefully ensure that everything has data, and we have also played around with when data is missing so that we can see that if data is missing, even their API will reject it. That means that for that day, you have failed to comply in report rendition. That is when they go live. Because when pieces of data constituting somebody who did a transaction, they want to frown on it. They will obviously frown on it. That's it. Oh, this account went for transaction. And you are saying that you don't even have elements of data for these things. That's a concern. You understand what I'm saying? Maybe someone in the who is in compliance here, who can share more on this area, who can share more in this deficiency. What is the implication? A compliance person, please. And then Fred's voice is not too okay. Yeah, Imolayo, I'm sure you can try from audits. Molly, are you? Okay, we have Kudirat.
Mr. Sunday, Mr. Sunday, you are the compliance officer. We are.
Okay, yeah, Mr. Sunday, yeah, Mr. Sunday can help. Mr. Sunday? Incomplete data with respect to reporting the KYC set of basic data as well as the transaction basic data. Also looking at the focus on corporate governance. What can you say, sir?
My take on that is that if the data are not completed, there's potentiality for even the CAC to reject the trade, the man on board of trading might not even get the full information based on that particular client. And as such, if the compliance officer does not do the right thing, there's no way such a document can be approved for any transaction. And it also affect the covenant. And they will look at it as a fraudulent transaction, maybe because of money laundering or maybe a way of taking the money out of the way and for another business, but not at that stock that the person want to buy in actual sense. So the compliance officer needs to be very, very thorough in this regard so that the job can be done and the firm that are concerned or that such a firm that represented will also know that they are doing the correct job so that the iron or be the hammer of the regulation will not rest on them. So I think that is the key point.
I think that was helpful. There was actually a time I've related with someone like Mr. Fred Worm of Dumbbell, and I do share that sometimes for some of these things to work in some organizations, the compliance officers may need to have a uniform, something that may look like a police uniform, so that they can be feared. Mr. Fred, can you chip in something? You must talk, oh. Because you see, sometimes we believe compliance is like a force. It shouldn't really be. Once the process is in place and the rule says that if this is what is on ground, even that account should not even go for transaction. Because if the account goes for transaction, yeah.
Yeah, I hear you. Can you hear me, sir?
Yes. Okay, very well. Yes, okay. Mr. Fred, go ahead.
That suggestion sounds so funny that we should be on uniform.
No, I know but Mr. Fred, you sometimes wear police uniform now. That's why sometimes some things work for you. No, but then, I mean, quite frankly, incomplete records, you can imagine. Can you just share with us? This will make certain things fail and flop your ability to comply. Your word.
I think these things are going, they are going in the right direction. If you can get all this information keyed into the system once and for all, it will help us a long way in reading our reports, and the compliance officer will not be at pressure at any point in time, and the company as well will not be afraid of being penalized. So for us to
yes.
okay, all right.
No, go ahead, please.
Okay, so for us to be at that point, what we are doing is it's an excellent job. If we can fast track it and ensure that it's implemented within a record time.
Okay, I now want to share a window. Now, this next screen will be like a window of what we possibly can get when we want to connect to you for the application to report to AutoComply. So that is what the idea I want to share with you next, so that if things are in place, things will work. But if they are not in place, it will fail a couple of times. And please permit me to get back to that screen. Okay. So there are three critical areas that will be sourcing data for this purpose. One is the master record for all customers. Your customers have their master records in somewhere. Now, after that, we'll be looking at the file that contains the transactions. And of course, we will also reference an area, particularly for the IT people here. We will also reference where your bank details for customers are stored. You know, so in driving home some of those points, look at these headings. These were some of these reports, these fields that were requested. Now, they need the report dates, which traditionally will be the transaction dates. Then they want to have what is called the reference number. They also want to have the bank code, now pointing to the client now. What's his bank? Now, the branch, for instance. So you notice that in my update here, one has data, the other one does not have data. If the data for the branch for that client may not be available or known, it may just be safer that you put something like NA, not available, so that you don't avoid, and you can avoid it being empty. Then customer type. Is it individual? Is it corporate? That is where it's going to get that from. So for some of us also, because I see this very commonly, we open an account, the name is Diamond Software Limited, but the account class is individual. Many of your accounts, many. Anything, maybe if I look at the database, and we can perhaps do some elementary helping to correct some of them, that maybe if we do a search, that is my thinking, that maybe if we do a search and we search the system for all accounts that are having the word limited, either incomplete, LIMITIED, or LTD, we should force all such accounts to class corporates, where they were not corporate before. Because if I do that such a query, one will be able to see such a problem. An IT person here, Mr. Kinde. An IT person here, please. Who else? We're expecting Kinley IT here too. Okay, Kinley IT is not in today here. All right, but then the IT people will understand that some of this data, the way we query them, we will get exactly the figure that is available for any customer for this purpose. So where data is not available, they will be creating null values, which is the challenge and problem that we're talking about. Okay? Okay, then we have the first name, middle name, the nationality. Look at date of birth, for instance. Date of birth in this case is null for one of the accounts. Or sometimes the date of birth is unrealistic. Imagine, date of birth, and it could be 2024. You know? And so on and so forth. Now, we also have fields. For those ones who are corporate, they want to know their date of incorporation. Then the customers now, they want to know their occupation, and so on. We're just actually putting data here to be sure that we get something filled up really. So it's not about a particular set of data that is live anywhere, you know? So I was just ensuring that in the course of this testing, we're just working with some test data actually. So, and that's why this could be, you have date of issue, place of issue, the issuing authority of the means of identification, the account type, the first line address, and so on. You know, a lot more. Second line address, town and city, local government, states. So all these fields that were before now were not taken seriously, they are now being demanded. They are now being demanded. Okay? All right? And so on. Transactions, even when you are reporting the transaction side, look at that. All the history, the story, the amount, the type of transaction. And a lot more. Source of funds. Customer address type. Is it his home office? Is it his office? The address that we have used. And so on. Okay, so about this general whole thing is that we are looking at a centralized data management, you know, where we maintain a single source of truth for all customer data, customer and transaction data. Now, this will use a centralized repository that integrates seamlessly with the AutoComply. So if the data is clean, which is the recommendation, your reporting will also be reasonable. Then automation of data workflows, automate data entry, validation, and reporting to minimize errors and improve efficiency. This is the whole essence why the regulators are doing this. Now, we now leverage the AutoComply API with built-in functionalities for seamless compliance processes. Seamless compliance processes means we don't want to be chasing you about. Nobody wants to chase you about. We need to leverage on technology, and if technology can offer us, why the waste of time? For 3-4 months, people are still preparing data, then something is wrong. Now, data quality monitoring regularly audits data for completeness, accuracy, and consistency. We see new jobs before the compliance desk, the compliance officers, that this should now be your area of concern, in fact, of attention. You know, we will also help in doing what? To implement things that will help your work. Because one, when you have things that are expired in terms of identification, right? We obviously will implement alerts. And automation alerts that will be able to go to these people so that they can know that their documents are expiring. But guess what? Provided that your data is accurate, even this work. Because the customers will now be receiving wrong and misleading alerts. Sorry, I don't know whether I'm making sense here. Let me stop here. Am I making sense here, please? Notifications, we need to be very careful about this. We should be notifying people on valid actions, valid activities, but not that we are actually sending notifications that are untrue. The man has sent in a particular document, but what was captured is different from his documents. And he's now getting notification as of this morning, because most of these things are notifications that are likely to go by 5 a.m. when most of you are still sleeping. But then, just like the happy birthday that is getting to some people at the wrong days, you'll be unhappy that you are reporting that this document that is still active and valid, that you are saying is invalid. and so on and so forth. So this will be the reactions, the outcome of these implementations. Okay, then we need to maintain to track who accessed or modified data. And now we can tell you that in the course of all of this, we have actually emphasized what we call the trash report. Yes, something called the trash report. So that you'll be able to know some of these things being logged from time to time. Then, training and awareness. In the course of why we had to raise this is why a few houses have responded. There's still a lot more, but then it will be left for the organizations in due course. Because this is a journey that we sincerely need to take seriously together. And we realize that when these updates are being made, we should be minimizing the impact of the implementation. We should be highly minimized, the impact of implementation. You know, so that it is not every time we're having new things that is now becoming, it will be a big issue, and we want to say that any open, transparent ways identifying with what these changes are is actually welcome from any house and anybody. Okay, now a bit getting into what the expectation from the AutoComply is. I'm sure you are familiar with the SEC report that you usually have on Excel. It's the same thing. Once this data is communicated, it feeds those SEC documentation API at the regulator's end. And they're able to generate what we are supposed to do manually for them. We just shared a few, captured something from some screens. And majorly, it will be like some of this data being empty, but you can have a status when everything is just filled up, but depending on whatever request they have demanded. Then even in part of the development process, we had to also share with you what the development process was involved. It didn't come out of the blues. And don't forget that Cloud Integra is 100% development that is actually done internally. So we can share with you, even our backend is not a foreign system. And neither is the regulation a foreign regulation. So we are sharing with you here that for impacting on your database in the course of your application trying to send, we can share with you here that we were able to get all these data points, purpose of transaction, reference number, registration number, report date, second line address, and so on and so forth. It is based on what is here. And if the data was empty, you will clearly see lines here that will be carrying empty. And because they are empty, some lines may not be acceptable. Now, same thing here. Email, first line, first name, identification number, issuing authority, linked accounts, linked connected accounts, and so on, local government, and so on and so forth. You know, so we will actually now get back, and because I really want to look at some of the things that will aid we doing this, especially when currently some things are still available that we need to do. We hear the instance of the biometric. If it has a problem, that means that we can actually please get your request, and we even create a session with you and share with you what to do and you can get that behind you. And we can be looking at, you can be looking at better things. Please don't hesitate. No? And that's the presentation, quite frankly. And I want to now look at, from the operation point of view, of what we do. Oh, Chika is here. Chika is the IT man I was waiting for. I was waiting to hear his voice on something. Hello, Mr. Chika.
Hello, good morning, sir.
Sorry,
Sorry,
I actually needed your voice. I needed your voice somewhere, in that there are critical processes that I don't know whether you're on top of this, where you are in Kinley. Especially, one, in the area of biometrics, two, in the area of bank account updates, because in the course of the AutoComply, you realize that many of these things are essential. Even the biometrics was essential at the point of you doing your KYC scoring for compliance sake. Because if you have booked, like we had in that presentation, that's scoring thing, maybe I'll just try to share that back. If you look at, if you have given like 20% to biometrics and images are not regularly captured, you'll be seeing that you are doing the customer account a disservice, because there's no how you can actually implement 100% compliance. And I can tell you, some customers today, their compliance level is 100%. Though you may say it's too high, some people will say, let's do 70. Some may say, let's do 75. Some may say, let's do maybe 80%. But you see, when you say KYC and you really want to look at thorough enforcement and you want to make it global, some organizations and management can decide it must be 100%. That means that you must be on your toes. So the excuse on biometrics shouldn't even arise. The excuse on capturing the bank account shouldn't even arise, because this will inform the reporting in AutoComply. So that's why I was not going to say, are you on top of this in Kinley as the IT person? Chika?
Yes, of course. But it has been one of our major concerns now, because we find out that some customers, they don't have like email, their pictures are not there. So now, that is what I'm working on presently, to make sure those information they fill up, they are filled up correctly.
Okay, now, also, you have been, particularly Kinley, has been one of the early users of Cloud Integra. Even before you came in the early, when I say 1997, Kinley has been on Integra. Now, some customers currently do not have email addresses. Do you know that?
Yeah.
So the strategy now is that, how and what do you think? Because today, we should be able to evolve ideas that we can share amongst brokers of what we can do. How can we reach these old clients to bring them on board? How is this possible?
Because most of them are very old people. Most of them are very old people. So these people that don't have email address. Most of them are very old people. But fortunately, they have phone numbers. They have phones. So if you can reach to them through email, you should be able to reach them through their phone number. Like SMS or all the other things.
Okay, like you notice that because email is important, and also even telephone numbers. I have a feeling even telephone numbers are also not many.
Yes.
Telephone numbers may not be many too. So as a result of this, you may not be able to reach out. And the idea is, what should be the safest way to reach out? Any other person?
Like what I said earlier, there is a way I think it's able to reach out is through their phone number.
Okay, through
If they don't
telephone
have
numbers,
Facebook,
okay?
like SMS and the like.
Okay. Okay. All right. Yeah, sure. Mr. Vivian, sorry, Archie Vivian.
Okay, good afternoon. I would like to say something on regards the updates because most times I do updates, and even when you put the phone numbers, like when you put the phone numbers in the places for telephone numbers, then after updating, it does not come out.
Okay,
Like it
please.
does not show.
Yeah, that's that would be interesting to know. But please, also let's confirm this, please. You have our technical support because sometimes
Okay.
your email request mostly comes from the MD, which I don't think it must be the MD alone that sends a request. Please send a request on this. Let's confirm that because we will not know until we also go to test.
All right, sir.
You understand? Please, we need to test and confirm this. Please, any other ideas? How do we reach out to our old accounts? Who I believe even today they come back and they do transactions and these accounts are still not updated accordingly. Mr. Kinde? Mr. Kinde?
Yes, sir.
Yes, any idea? Well, okay.
The only way I think is if you can get most of their other colleagues that we know, can reach out to them because through their phone, some use the old phones. Some accounts have those old Nitel phones, numbers. So when you try to call, you not get those numbers.
Okay.
Those that have numbers, they change their numbers. You try to get them, you not get. But the ones that will come around, if they know that they are related, can reach out to them.
Let me. This is my own idea.
Yes, sir.
Because to be able to help a situation, we need to do a bit of research. When we say a bit of research, the research has to be, we need to mine the data that you currently have. Now, please expect that we can extract for you. We can extract for each house all deficient account records on Excel. All deficient account records on Excel. And because we know this is a huge job to be done, I don't know how we can look at it. If it is easier for you to look at the Excel sheets and you can update that Excel sheet completely with the correct detail of what is missing and send back those Excel sheet back to us, then we could, because of the past and backlog, we could programmatically update that Excel sheet with the correct dates, the correct data that you have furnished on that Excel. Please, I don't know, just look at this. I'm not saying this is the only way, but because I know you have quite a lot of data to manage for now, and that could be the approach. We can actually spool deficient records onto Microsoft Excel and share this with each house. But what do we mean here? Perhaps that will be managed by the compliance, even though the IT will need to also have it be in control, so that adequate records can be updated as you desire based on what it is on Excel quickly and in a fast manner, so that when you send the Excel sheet back to us, we can follow the account numbers and do a quickie update program that can automatically update all of them in the system as much as possible, so that it takes a shorter time for this update. I don't know whether this may help. Chika, what do you say?
Absolutely, sir. It's true, sir.
I think that may help. But then let's have a concern, because it's not only for IT, that it also has a concern of compliance if it is not properly in proper control by the people that should control it, so that people don't go and modify any other accounts or something. So it has to be in proper control. And Mr. Fred, what do you think? Hello, Mr. Fred? All right, from the audit, Imoliayo. Imoliayo. From an audit perspective, how would you control this kind of a file? Because it will be a very sensitive file. A file that is containing your client's data is a very sensitive one. How will this, or how can this be managed that there is no mutilations, people just modifying things anyhow, so that it is just for the purpose? Imoliayo, any position?
Basically, we need the authorization in trying to accessing customers' file, because there should be whoever that initiated, and there should be a senior officer that can be able to authorize any update as the case may be, and that's what is obtainable in our own.
Yeah, because we are trying, we are saying this because we are trying to see how we can, if you can, a possibility of you setting up people who can access data to update quickly on an Excel sheet, so that it's just an option, obviously. Otherwise, it can be that you are going at the pace that you want to go from the application. But in case there could be a mass option, or where you can quickly update an Excel sheet, and that Excel sheet comes back to us, I'm saying that there's a possibility of we updating the records automatically based on the new data that you have provided, because the ones that we're going to give to you will be accounts that does not have telephone number, for instance, will be accounts that does not have email address, for instance. We will not waste time sending you those ones that have correct contact details. So we'll not waste our time on that. We'll be looking for those ones that are highly deficient in this journey. That's what I was trying to express there. Then let's have other questions, please. Madam Benson. Any other observation, please? Can you just share, please? Hello, Madam Benson. Okay, she's not, maybe she may not be there, but okay. Okay. All right. Okay, she's just joining us back. So Kehinde, can you just have just have a general opinion on all this, please? We are trying to recap so that we're taking the points. Kehinde?
Sir, in when all this information comes back to us, and we try to look at the old files to put in those data, some of those old clients might be difficult to get their phone numbers, because then some of those files don't have numbers. So only the ones that's available will be sent back. Those ones that are too old to get will still give us issue. So only the ones that are having the complete numbers, the address, and the phone numbers that will be returned.
Okay.
But the ones those will now have will still give us this issue of not completing their own records.
Okay, would it then be right to say that even if we do not go back to those old accounts, that may be difficult for us to even reach them, especially in those where email and telephone number is not available? What I think is important now should be the attention of anybody, assuming they were old and they want to do a transaction now, ensuring that we take all that we must take and update all that we must update on every account that wants to do a transaction now. I think this will be the game-changing thing. Okay, Madam Benson, we're trying to hear if you have a suggestion in this area, how we can update this large amount of customers with incomplete records. And if the idea to spool the incomplete records and send to you via Excel sheets for you to look at, if that could be helpful. I wanted you to speak in that area, Madam Benson.
sorry, our network went up, so
Oh, yeah, sorry, I saw that, yes.
15, 20 minutes. So we just joined again.
Okay. That's okay. All right. Okay, let me hear. Can I hear from Kudirat? Oh, Kudirat has a sound problem. The sound is not showing well. Oh, Kudirat has Absalam has a sound. The sound isn't showing too well. I'm sure maybe if you are in and out, that could correct that. Please, let's just take a general, and particularly for you, Mr. Sonny, with your 45,000 records, what do you think is the best approach? Hello, Sonny. Or from Fred again, what could be the best approach for dumbbell, right? Hello, Mr. Fred. Okay. All right. I think we're just trying to take a general position. Chika, we agree that the Excel is the Excel format we can drive the entire Excel format of all people without telephone number, with some missing data, nationality and all those things, and we can indicate all those things missing. So yeah, so we can indicate all those things missing so that you can now begin to update them either from the application, or if it can be updated from an Excel. Like I said, we are here. We can always take your Excel back and use it to do a mass update rather than you do it one by one. I was saying, is that process okay? If it is okay, then that is just one method. The other method is that you identify which ones does not have complete data, and you begin to do them one by one if that is what you think is doable. This is actually the second option. I wanted people to just pick in line on this so that we know which ones really can be generally recommended for everyone, especially for when we have a lot of clients. And everybody here, on the average, I'm sure there's nobody here that has less than 10,000. Imolayo, can you confirm that? I'm sure I'm sure you have more than 10,000, obviously. On the average, everybody here should be having more than 10,000. So we're trying to look at what is safer. So I will work on the Excel production, and the Excel production will be served to the houses. And once we are good with that, it will be easy for us to work with that and use that to update the system generally, or you update them one by one. And I think that will solve the problem. And please, based on this program will have the video uploaded. That we have a training portal. I will actually give you a mail, please, individually, so that you can actually please set up yourself on the training portal, so that when this video is uploaded, you can always refer to it. We will actually send you a quiz, and post-quiz, you are entitled to a course certificate. So, post-quiz, you are entitled to a course certificate. And in fact, some of these may even demand that you have to do one thing or the other, which we need to affirm. And we are trying to do this so that we can be sure you have that problem and you can express that problem and we can solve that problem with you. And this is the idea. And generally, just like some other past courses that our training academy have had over the past periods, I think on the New Year Day, obviously, all certificates will be available on your profile portal, which you can download, particularly for this particular program and this course. And of course, your firm will be indented. The name of the organization will be indented on the certificate. This is actually has been our approach, so that maybe later on you may be able to know which organization you were before you had this program. Let's take some final takes. I'd like to take from Express Portfolio, Madam. Some passing shots, Madam.
I just want you to give us a comprehensive IT on this KYC, so that when we'll be able to upload and do the necessary things that we need to do, so that we'll be compliant. That's just what's my final thing.
No problem, Madam. No problem. Okay, please, let's take more. Olasukomi, that's Kinley, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
How are you?
Fine, sir.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
I'm sure they were holding you backwards. All these Chika people, don't mind them. Okay. Chika, how are you? I'm sure you were the one holding back Olasukomi, or I didn't know whether he had joined earlier. But then, Mr. Fred, let's have your passing comment, please. What do we do extra, please? What do we do extra? Let's share, please. Let's share. Please unmute yourself. Let's share, please. Sonny. Imole, are you anyone, please? Anybody can, yeah,
Hello?
please. Yes, go
Hello?
ahead. Go ahead, please.
I would like to call the attention of programmers that is it possible for us to identify, maybe to have access to the maybe to update their program, maybe to attach NINs to the website and BBN link to the website as a validator ID. At the point of updating customer account from the Integra, at the moment you enter the BBN number or the NIN number, it will validate automatic. That it will not give you the result without even wasting time or going to the other system to look to validate a customer. Maybe before you assess, or before you create CSS account for a particular person, you have to go to the portal, the BBN's validation portal, to validate the customer. That means to get the accurate information of the particular customer. Same thing goes to the NIN. So what I'm saying now, the point I'm going to mention now is that let it also be same as the programmer's software to avoid missing some numbers. In the portal of CSCS, if any number that is missing at the point of registering the number into the portal, it will declare it's invalid or wrong. You have to correct it. So I think this will help us and help the programmers to have authentic information.
Okay, this is noted. Thank you. Yeah, Imole Ayo, please.
You're welcome, sir.
Yes.
Hello, sir.
Yeah, Chika, go ahead. Go ahead, please. Go ahead.
So in addition to what Mr. Asole just said,
yes,
I think we also need some form validations. It is that just on Facebook, I discovered that some email address of some clients, the person that included the registered them does not forget or omitted at symbol. So I think there's some validations there. You're not supposed to accept it in the first place.
That's
and some
right.
phone numbers also more than 11.
Yeah, I'm sure these policy issues, the enforcement will generally stop all of that. That if they are not available, you won't even be able to complete. Yes, that's key. Yes. All right. Okay, please. I was to take Imole Ayo. Please go ahead.
Yes, I want to call your attention to the first issue, the first point you raised in respect of biometric.
Okay.
So from the point of the regulator now, every client we need to get their biometric. And you know, in this age that we have, sometimes you can even have a customer in Abuja from here. Just make sure you don't have an office in Abuja that can be able to do that. What's the best of to address this issue
Now,
or this
sorry,
biometric of all the clients?
under account maintenance, I'm sure under account maintenance, do you have an officer that is in charge of biometrics?
No.
There has to be. I'm sure if you relate with Femi or anything, please, all these side things, please let me put it together as things you can share back with me so I can consolidate all of this. Now, there has to be an officer because one, people who actually scan images of customers have to just be unique people in the operations department. It is not everybody that does biometrics. Because you are in the operations does not mean that you are able to go update biometrics. Because in the first place, that module by the admin people should manage whoever is in charge so that not just anybody can handle biometrics on the application. Now, whoever that is given the role to be able to update pictures and the general scans and the other identities and all of that into the application needs to be known, and that person is the person you give the rights to. It could be one, it could be two, it could be more, but then these people, we know that this is their role. And once they are given these assignments, they all know what it entails. Because when we are talking about biometrics now, as it is, some houses have hired youth corpers. And I know the experience in some places. Youth corpers have been paid for almost several months in a year that they are serving there. And when they are to go, what did they do? They have scanned pictures of all customers into database only for them to later realize that what was done were total garbage. You call up a male account, you see a female picture, and vice versa. So people who actually should manage biometrics are people who really know they should know their onions, so that they know that it is not by the speed, but the accuracy of the data being captured. You know, so these are just the essential, and every operations unit needs to have a unit for this. You know, so that you are not doing it, I'm just letting you know that, in fact, biometric in itself could be a major component of your scoring when it comes to biometrics, when it comes to KYC enforcement. When you enforce KYC, an account that does not have a picture, an image, utility, whatever is not added. So these points will not add up to 100 or 80% to qualify them for a transaction. And this is where I'm saying that you will begin to have a negative impact of advancements when it shouldn't be. All right? Okay. Please, I need more. Kehinde, are you there now? And for biometrics, I think I was listening to Mr. That is his name now. Imoliayo. You said anybody, it does not matter where you are. Once you can actually have access, you can actually manage any posting or management of biometrics. It doesn't matter what location that you are. We just need some final caps so that we can have some fine takeaways. Mr. Fred, anymore? Okay. All right. So at this moment, I'm sure before end of day, you'll get my mail. Yes.
Hello, sir.
Yeah, please go ahead, please.
Yes, I just want to confirm. Is there on the Integra, is there any place we can upload customer pictures?
That's what I say, yeah. Of course, yes.
And another document.
Send a request now. We'll send you what to do with respect to that.
Yes, sir.
Right.
Yes, sir. Okay. No, thank you, sir.
Oh, NIN, somebody says NIN does not have expiry dates. Is that correct?
Yes, yes.
But then, that means that it has to be, one has to know what type of identification. If it is like an idea, sometimes idea of a company, do they really truly have identification or expiry dates? But then if it's like international passports, if it is like driver's license, notable, just those notable identification, whatever, those ones have expiry. But then the whole essence is that we should be able to manage when things are falling due. And when things are falling due, you want to notify, is the data correct? This is the concern. So thank you so very much, ladies and gentlemen. I appreciate everyone. And you'll get our final email and a summary as to what to do subsequently. This session will be there. And the essence for the portal is that you will have a portal that from time to time in future, you can be viewing that thing. It's a portfolio portal, and you can be following up with things on that platform. You can watch it many times over. Thank you so very much. Please, Mr. Fred, give me a final word, or Chika. I need an IT person to give me a final word. Mr. Kainde, Chika, final words, please. Event. Oh, Chika, can you please help me close the event? Or I take somebody else if IT people are not serious. Where's Kainde? Sonny, let somebody from Kano do so. Okay, great. Vivian, please help us close the event. Thank you, Vivian. Vivian, unmute yourself.
He called me and asked me that.
Yeah, just help us close the event, Vivian. Your voice is not, I can't hear. Oh, sorry, I think Vivian has a voice issue. Who is still up? Okay, Madam Benson, help me close the event, I beg.
The webinar has been very insightful. It has been, what would I call it now? Educative. I want to thank you for this webinar, and we look forward to your implementing what SEC wants and the exchange so that we can operate seamlessly. Thank you very much for the webinar.
Thank you so very much. I hope your names on the registration is fine because your certificates will be based on those names. Thank you. Do enjoy the rest of your day.